Brittany.
Hi, Rachel.
So I don't know if you've heard, but lately there's a lot of talk about auditing the gold in Fort Knox. That's in the news a lot lately, and it is February right now when we're recording this, so whenever you hear this, I don't know if there's been any progress made, but first of all, I wanted to explain this whole situation and what it's all about. So, first of all, Fort Knox.
Yeah.
What is it? Yeah. Well, it's a military base, and it has this big, highly secure vault, supposedly, well, not supposedly, it does, where all of the United States gold reserves are held.
Allegedly.
So that's what we're talking about today. Allegedly, because it hasn't been audited or seen by anyone in 51 years. So, yeah.
That would have been what year?
74. 1974.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, Fort Knox is in Kentucky. And supposedly there's something like, oh, I had this. Like, how many tons of gold? Over 4,000 tons of gold.
The government is
say.
saying? Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, it's an amount of gold that is a significant underpinning of the United States, the government's public wealth. Is held in gold, stored in Fort Knox under very tight, secure conditions. And people want to know, is the gold really there? And on Twitter, X, somebody tagged Elon Musk, who is running Doge or spearheading Doge and auditing everything right now. Piece by piece, he's like auditing the entire United States government. And it's kind of glorious to watch, actually. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of cool because they're recommending all of these cuts and finding waste, fraud, and abuse. And it just warms my heart because all my life we've been hearing about the waste, fraud, and abuse in government, and nobody's ever done anything significant about it. And finally, somebody's doing something. And so it's kind of glorious. And so now somebody pointed out to Elon Musk on X that, hey, why don't you take a look in Fort Knox and see if the gold is there? And Elon Musk responded, he said, well, surely that's audited at least once a year or so, right? And people were like, have a seat, Elon. No. And Senator Mike Lee, who's one of our favorites, he actually... Yeah, he tweeted or X'd or whatever it is. He posted that he has been trying to get into Fort Knox, and he's asked. And Fort Knox they've basically told him no, we're a military installation. And he's like, well, I'm a U.S. Senator. I go to military bases all the time. I have like top secret, like all of this. I should not have a problem with access. And they're like, still no, because no.
Why all the secrecy, unless you have something to hide.
Why? And also on X, I noticed that somebody posted a video from 1974 when they did actually open up Fort Knox to 12 United States senators.
Interesting.
And
do you
media.
Do you know who they are? Oh.
I don't know their names, but it's 1974. And they took in video cameras, and they broadcast this live on air to prove to people that the gold was there. And it was. It's all there in this little room. It's like shocking how small a room, like, $750 million worth of gold fits into a nice small space. But it was there. So showing that video kind of proved to everybody, hey, this can be done. It has been done. Why hasn't it been done recently? And Elon Musk tweeted that, or posted, I'm dead naming Twitter, sorry. Posted that.
I still say tweeted, but I still say Twitter, okay. So I don't know.
Okay. So I'm
in boomer territory at this point.
People know what I mean. But he posted that it would be cool to live stream, like go into Fort Knox and live stream it. And that's kind of shocking because that would prove that nobody's trying to hide anything. It would be in real time, so it's not like they could go in and take a video and then like
Doctor
forget
it or
to post
edit
it
yeah.
if what was there was inconvenient to somebody. But yeah, that would potentially restore huge amounts of trust in the government, the solvency and stability of the United States economy and government. But what happens if it's not there?
Well, and I wanted to ask you this to explain the importance of why that gold matters. Why does that gold matter? I have dollars in my purse. You know, I have bills. Why should I care about gold?
Why? Well, why do those dollars have any value? Well, they're not backed by gold anymore. President Nixon severed all relationship with the gold standard in 1971. And then it was still pretty tenuous back then, but close the gold window. You can no longer exchange dollars for gold anymore. The currency is not backed by gold, is what that means. We have a fully fiat currency.
Do you say fiat? I say fiat.
Fiat.
I have never said fiat. That's funny. There's a homework assignment. I was like, what is a fiat? I say fiat, but that's interesting. Sorry. I was like,
it is FIAT. And that means it's not backed by anything except full faith and credit of the United States. In other words, just confidence.
We promise.
People feel like it's worth something, so it is. And that's what makes other countries in the world accept it and use it for global trade a lot. So what if that faith, that confidence in the U.S. government is undermined by finding that actually something has happened to the gold in Fort Knox and it's not there? Where would it be and why would it have disappeared? I mean, there's just a lot of speculation because we haven't seen it. And somebody on Twitter described the process for auditing the gold now, and they simply, supposedly, keep the door locked all the time. They never open it, and they just sign off on a little tag on the door saying, oops, door's still closed, without going in there and checking to see if anything is missing. Has anything been replaced with, say, bars of gold? They're just gold colored and maybe drilled in and filled with tungsten. Now, here's a chemistry lesson for you. Tungsten on the periodic table.
A lot of men's wedding rings are made of tungsten, or they used to be. I know that used to be the trend.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Tungsten jewelry is kind of cool. But here, an interesting thing, tungsten as an element is very close to gold on the periodic table. It has very similar density. So, but it's a lot cheaper. It's a cheaper metal. So one trick that fraudsters are doing is they will make a bar of tungsten and they will coat it with gold. So it looks like gold. It weighs what gold should weigh, more or less. But if you drill a hole in it, you'll find that it's mostly tungsten, which is worth next to nothing. Yeah. Whereas a gold bar might be worth $1 million, but a gold-plated bar of tungsten might be worth $5. Right? So that's a problem if that happens. But you could eyeball it, you could weigh it, and it looks like it's gold. Right? But so not only do we need to audit it to see that it's there, but we need to assay it. We need to cut into it, like drill a hole and just make sure that what's there is the real deal. There's a lot of speculation. There's some conspiracy theories over what could have happened. Maybe it's being loaned out to other countries or banks or something to get some money back. And is there something shady going on? Is somebody stealing it, or is there undercover? Like, there's all kinds of theories.
But they make it open. The government leaves themselves open to these conspiracies because when they don't tell us things and they keep a door locked and don't show us what's inside, we're left trying to fill in the blanks. And I think that's, people will throw shade. They'll be like, oh, you're, a conspiracy theorist. But it's like, but I was given no choice but to kind of figure out what's going on because we don't know, right? And I'm not saying I believe every conspiracy theory about Fort Knox, but they kind of leave themselves open to all of us creating some idea.
And isn't that the problem with not being transparent about what's going on, is because it does leave people to draw their own conclusions or make up their own stories. And those stories might be like wildly wrong, but maybe the government doesn't care. Maybe they want us spinning and spinning and spinning and trying to figure out what could have happened. Why are they being secretive? But, you know, why couldn't they just let us see? Just tell us. Just tell us what's going on and we'll deal with the fallout. And, you know, the fallout could be pretty big.
It could be. It could be economic instability for a lot of things. So it's scary, but it's kind of one of those things. Have you ever like not wanted to know something, but you needed to know it because you didn't want to deal with the consequences? It's like one of those situations where it's like, ugh, I don't want to know, but I need to know. Yeah,
it's like, how much do I owe on my taxes this year? I don't want to know, but I'm going to have to deal with it.
But, you know, I think this kind of represents an era of audit everything that we're going through right now. And as of today, when we're recording this at the end of February, you know, Rand Paul actually just demanded that Doge and Elon basically get all the cuts they want to do passed by Congress, which is going to be an interesting battle. I'm very interested to see how this plays out. The reason I bring this up is because I am for auditing everything. Now, there is a lot of controversy right now on whether Elon Musk has the authority, because he's an advisor, but he's not a government official. Does he have the ability to audit? But then you have to wonder, like, if the government were to get everything audited, it would have to be an outside person anyway. You don't have the government audit itself. So there's all these different things going on. But I like this audit everything because it's funny to me how many people are defending governments like, oh, we're scared to see what's going to happen when they're audited. I think the Pentagon needs to be audited. That's a whole other thing. We need to find out where all our money is going. So it's, this audit everything climate we're in is an interesting one. And like you said at the beginning of the episode, you know, this is something that we've talked about in our spaces forever and ever and ever. And so now it's like, wait a second, is this happening?
You know? I know. It's like all of these things that were just kind of fringe and like just like these little libertarian corners of
Ron
activists
Paul,
saying,
when he stood up there on the stages and in 2008 and was saying, you know, cut this,
things.
And people were booing him and he was applauding. And it was like, like we didn't, I think a lot of us, it kills me to admit this now. I don't think we wanted to believe it was going to happen, but I think deep down we knew that it wasn't, just because everything was so much bigger than what we were going through. And all these things have happened in those 20 almost years, you know, since that, where we're really starting to see the things government hides. I think COVID was a very big instigator for that, because there was so much we didn't know. And so it's, this is an exciting, a weird time, because I'll be honest, anything could happen. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not going to say it's all great because we don't know. I take this day by day, but it's interesting to see this even being talked about.
I will say one thing about the faith and credit of the United States government and what that could do to the value of our currency. Now, you would think, all things being equal, our bankers like China and Japan, who hold a lot of our debt, they would want to, you know, the United States is insolvent. They don't have any gold. They don't have anything underpinning their currency and economy. Let's sell everything, sell all of our treasuries. But wait a second, if they did that, those treasuries, the United States debt that they hold, is considered part of their wealth. So do they really want their wealth to evaporate overnight by, you know, just trying to sell it all? So it's very complicated. And I'm not entirely sure that, like, how much it would matter. It matters if our currency suddenly becomes, you know, very worthless. But would it really? And it's a big question. And I really don't know how to predict what would happen. But that's why the gold is important. It's because if the world could see that the gold is there and it's real, and, you know, just like the government said, it was a very boring audit, then I think that would actually help the value of our dollar. I think that would help our economy. I think it'd be really positive. And if the opposite happened, I'm not sure how negative it could be. Potentially very. But
well, only time will tell. Huh?
Only time will tell, yes.
We will,
but it's something that I'm following very closely, and maybe you should too, now that you understand a little bit more about what's at stake.
Yeah, we will wrap it up there. But like, we said in the beginning, because we record this a little ahead of when it airs, it's interesting to see maybe what's going to happen by the time it airs. And like I said, anything could happen. It seems like things are changing day by day, but we will wrap it up there. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and share with your friends. And until next time, we will talk to you later.
Talk to you later.